Welcome back to Master Glass. I'm your host, Livio, and this is Mezcal. It's a centuries-old spirit made in small production from the agave plant in Mexico with agaves that are roasted in a pit, and the world seems to be falling in love with it. This is Raicilla, a centuries-old spirit made from the agave plant where the agaves are roasted underground. It's centuries old, indigenous to Mexico. I mean, all the same things, but the world hasn't quite fallen in love with it yet. The difference between these two, we're gonna find out today, baby. So let's start in understanding the difference between these two categories of spirits. Now, I wanna preface this. I don't usually drink mezcals or raicilla. They're not categories of spirits that I really gravitate towards. But I love history, I love traditions, and I love culture. And when it comes to that, tradition, history, culture, these two products are awesome and they excite me incredibly. The first category that we're gonna talk about is mezcal. It's obviously more popular. In the past 20 years, we've become more and more enamored by this product. What is it? It's an agave-based spirit from Mexico. The agaves that are used in the production of mezcal can be up to about 40, 50, depending on who you ask today, by the way. And the product can be made in 9 states. The most common state is Oaxaca, but there are 8 other ones that are allowed. Now, of those various different agaves, the most popular agave that is used in the production of mezcal is usually the Espadin. Now let's move on over to Raicilla. Raicilla is a agave spirit from Jalisco, which is the same area where tequila is mostly made. But it takes advantage of a wide variety of agave plants that can be used. Usually this product here is divided into 2 different subcategories or types. Those that are mountainous or those that are from the coast, also known as de la costa. The coastal versus the mountainous raicillas are distilled a little differently and have different agave plants. So they're going to have 2 different flavor profiles to look forward to. On the coast, they're going to use a wider range of agave plants, whereas the mountainous styles will only use 3 different specific types of agaves. Now, when it comes to distilling, the folks on the coast will actually use what they call a Filipino style distillation. And it's basically either in copper or in clay, but the chamber of the still is basically placed inside of a hollow tree. Whereas the mountainous styles, they more favor just your good old-fashioned copper pot distillation. Most of these products are distilled twice, although it is not uncommon to go for a 3rd distillation as well. The history of Raicilla is rather fascinating. We don't know much about where it began, but we know a lot about how things evolved. It is thought that somewhere in the 17th century, its production started, but it became kind of like the moonshine of Jalisco, because when the Spanish came, they made it illegal to make this product or make products that were produced with the heart of the agave. The local people of Jalisco would illicitly distill this at night under the light of the moon, and some producers actually still do that today just to stay traditional. But if they were ever caught producing this product, they would say, no, we don't use the heart of the agave, we actually use the root of the agave. That's the same thing. But of course, that's how they got away with it. The product was typically smuggled in plastic bottles, even old Coca-Cola bottles, and there again are some producers that still make it that way. So I'm excited to taste these 2 products. Let's dive right in. When it comes to the mezcal portion, I'm going to just taste 2 different types of El Silencio Mezcal. El Silencio is actually a Los Angeles-based company, but obviously they produce their product in Mexico, more specifically in Oaxaca. And Pedro Hernandez, which is their master distiller or producer, is a 9th generation producer. So this is high quality stuff. Everything here is small batch. Now this here is made with the Espadin agave. Word on the street is it's more designed for mixing than it is for straight tasting, but I'm gonna taste it straight. It definitely has some tropical aroma notes to it. So while I'm getting that typical firm, cooked agave, slightly smoke aroma from what I would consider to be a gentle mezcal, I'm also getting almost like a pineapple tropical note to it. And I think pineapple, roasted pineapple, is probably the thing I'm getting the most of. Texture is really nice. It's got some nice body weight to it. The flavor starts with a sweeter cherry-ish note to it and then leads into more of that briny agave smoke to it. There's also almost like a cucumber freshness to it. And yes, while I would agree this is probably a great mixing mezcal, and again, I'm not a big mezcal drinker, I still don't mind taking a sip or two of that. Let's move on to the second one, which is their Joven mezcal. This one here is a blend of 3 different agaves. Let's go ahead and give it a pour. As you know, usually we do these nice little B-roll slow motion shots of the pouring, but in the case here, everything here is clear in color, so there's really no need for that. The aroma here still has that characteristic roasted agave flavor that I was getting in the Espadin style, but here it's a little bit more, I don't know, I wouldn't say rounded, but a little bit more variety to it. Maybe a little bit more of a banana note. And I think there's a little lemon peel involved here too. And again, just a reminder, when I say these things, they're not in there, it's what I'm smelling. Sweeter on the palate, a little less variety, a little less things going on than what I was tasting in this version here. This went a little sweet, almost a little banana-ish. Stayed a little monotone in the middle, and then all of a sudden kicked in that roasted smoked agave flavor to it. Honestly, I like this version better, wouldn't mind sipping on this one either. So that is basically the mezcal flavor. Now, what is really going to be interesting is to try to explain to you how raicilla tastes in comparison to the flavors of mezcal. I'm assuming most of you know what a mezcal, give or take, tastes like at this point. So let's see what this is all about. What I really love about these products is how transparent they are on their label. So this here is Raicilla Japo, and hopefully I am producing that right. Japo is an 90-ish-year-old man that is still distilling this product. He's very traditional, so he actually still distills this under the moonlight. Let's go ahead and see what this is all about. By the way, before I forget, Mezonte is a nonprofit organization with the mission to preserving the tradition and the culture of indigenous products of Mexico, obviously those agave-based at the forefront. The aroma here, yeah, it's different. It's really, really different. There is that smoked agave, but just a little bit. Here, there's almost like a, I want to say chicken wing, but I know I'm not getting it right. There's some sort of a barbecue sauce aroma to this, a whisper. Now I know I'm probably not explaining this in the most appreciative way for you to understand it, but believe me, that slight roast smoke, not a lot of smoke though, and barbecue sauce aroma to it is actually pretty pleasant. Oh yeah. Oh wow. There's a little cheesy note to this. There's some flavors of cheese, and yes, if mezcal is different to tequila, because we know mezcal is usually a little bit more smoky, a little more rich in different flavors, whereas most tequilas either will give you more of those citrus or cotton candy flavors. Over here, this differs to mezcal in the same way, meaning there's not a lot of differences. Yes, they're made in the same area. Yes, they're made from similar ways, but over here, this is far more foody, if you ask me. Think about a nice, delicate cheese with a nice, delicate coat of barbecue sauce on top. This is super zesty and yummy. Yes, delicious. And again, I stick with that barbecue sauce cheesy component to it. We're gonna go ahead and move this aside. By the way, this one here is made with agaves from Cabo Corrientes, which means this is probably the maritime style or the coastal style Raicilla that I was talking about. And now we're gonna go ahead and try this one here, which is the Jalisco. Now the Jalisco is made with the agaves that are alineño y cimarrón. Alineño is another term for the Espadin agave, which is also used in mezcal. I love this little purling that happened while I was pouring it. It is my belief that, let's see if it, so this, the community here is Toliman. Toliman leads me to believe that this is gonna be more of an inland / mountainous style of mezcal. But if you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, please do put the comments below. Oh, a whole different animal, wow. Oh wow, yes, yes, yes. A little more neutral, but powerful. Probably a little higher in ABV. Yep, 49%. This one here was 47%. So a little more alcohol kick, but a little bit more neutral. A slightly briny smoked agave aroma, and that's it. Now I'm getting a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg on the second taste, but still with that roast agave smoke flavor to it. Incredible and amazing. If you ask me, a good agave lover should have a good variety of all these types of spirits. I hope that I gave you some sort of a notion of what is the difference between these two, especially on the palate. And I hope that my notions of historical information on the Raicilla and the difference in production of these two was helpful. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like and come back to Master Your Glass, where we talk about traditions and the drinks that are tied to them. Thanks for watching.